Hello and welcome back, everyone. Happy Friday. Today we are going to be going over Tinto Maps number 9, which is going to be discussing the regions of Carpathia and the Balkans for Secret Universalis Big Top Europa 5, the upcoming game from Paradox, which is not announced and of course is Big Top. We will just jump right into it and have greetings and welcome together to another Tinto Maps. This week we will be taking a look at Carpathia and the Balkans. Wow, such enthusiasm. Double exclam. Bam. Normally you only get that with chess. 5 of you will get that reference. All right. It will be most likely be an interesting region to take a look at, and with a lot of passion involved. So I'll just make an initial friendly reminder to keep a civil discussion. Oh man, we're talking. we get an intro into the Balkans, and the first thing the devs do is like, let's keep this civil, everybody. Yeah, we've entered the Balkans, everyone. Okay. People get a little. Well, let's keep it civil. As in the latest Tinto Maps, as that's the easiest way for us to read and gather your feedback and improve the region in the future iteration. And now let's start with the maps. Classic Balkan. Everyone, please keep it civil at the intro. But we do see a very nice looking map here with a lot of regions that look like they'd be fun to play with. Of course, we don't want to show favoritism to any single region in the Balkans because we want to keep it civil. But I'm imagining a lot of people actually will be playing the Byzantines. And the Byzantine Empire, being a lot bigger at the start because it's starting in 1337, I think is going to be to a lot of players' liking. I didn't realize that Epirus was free. We could, live the dream of Pyrrhus, I suppose. But this is going to be... I really do like the kind of Balkanized Balkans where... where I'm not even sure if Balkanized Balkans is offensive. Surely it can't be. But where you have a lot of like middle-sized options, which is going to make all of these like highly playable, and also the Ottomans, kind of the raid boss of Europa Universalis 5 or 4, are considerably smaller at the game start, and so playing in this region is probably going to be a lot easier, which is going to be nice. We also do see, in terms of the maps, we do see this mountain range creating these like barriers that we're going to get a bit of a closer look at. We know that there's a lot of riches in Hungary up here, and so that'll be also something to kind of think about when playing in this region. All right. Carpathia and the Balkans start out in a very interesting situation. The Kingdom of Hungary probably stands as the most powerful country in 1337. I assume they mean just the Balkans then entirely, but okay. But that only happened after the recovery of the royal power enforced by Charles I, Robert of the House Anjou, who reigned in the powerful Hungarian nobility. To the south, the power that is on the rise of the Kingdom of Serbia, ruled by Stefan Uros Dusan, sorry if I mispronounce any of this, who has set his eyes on the neighbor to expand his power. The Byzantine Empire, meanwhile, is in a difficult position, as internal struggles have ended in Andronikos III being crowned sole emperor at the cost of dividing the realm. Both Serbia and Bulgaria have in the past pressed over the bordering lands, while the Ottomans have very recently conquered Nicomedia. So not necessarily an easy start, but certainly easier than in 1444. The control over the southern Balkans is also very fractioned, aka Balkanized, right? With a bunch of the Anjou ruling over Albania, the despot of Pyrrhus under the normal rule of Byzantium as a vassal, and of course if they win any battles they'll be very close and very costly. And Athens, Neopetria, and Salona as vassals of the Argetes, kings of Sicily. Anjou protectorates over Achaia and Naxos, and only nominal Byzantine control over southern Morea. So we do see that a lot of these purplish guys are, wrapped in purple, seem to be subjects or some sort of subject of the Byzantines. It's also noticeable the presence of the republics of Venice and Genoa, which control several outposts over the Adriatic and Aegean seas. It'll be interesting to see how these give leverage for the purposes of trade, which of course is the idea in terms of game mechanics. Final note in previous maps. Moldavia was shown in map, but we've removed it from it, and it will likely spawn through a chain of events in the 1340s. Okay. Fair enough. We see dynasties where we have D'Anjou. I cannot pronounce like any of these other ones. Palaiologos. Okay. We have a bunch of dynasties that I can't pronounce, but they're going to be... Ooh, we see d'Anjou also in Naples. That's interesting. Okay. So we see the same dynasty over here. That's maybe something to note. The House of d'Anjou rules over Naples, Hungary, Albania, Achaia, and Cephalonia. Wow, that's a lot of places. They've truly invested in their push for supremacy over the region. Apart from that, each country is ruled by different dynasties, except for Athens and Neopetria, ruled by the House of Aragon, Barcelona. Okay. Interesting enough. We see a map of locations, which is... Ooh, we see the seas, different seas are kind of getting a different color, but purple, specifically in this kind of little inlet area, is a bit interesting. I suppose there actually is two places. Is this how it is, like, in modern times, where there's also this very narrow passageway here? Or is that something that has eroded? That's interesting. Okay. Spoiler detailed maps? Wait, what? Uh-oh, we got an entire loading thing. Okay, so we have a detailed maps of locations here as well, which is just going to show a lot more locations. We do see quite a bit of hilly terrain all throughout Greece, which is to be expected, and so this will probably inform kind of the way you are going to play this. I imagine it's going to be kind of a slog to try and push through anywhere here, considering how many really easily defensible areas there are, and probably really easy to hold on to some sort of sovereignty, considering all these mountainous regions. You know, if you're playing as any one of these countries, you can easily lock down particular areas of ingress, and, you know, utilize defensive bonuses, I'm assuming. Okay. This week we're posting the general map of the region along with some more detailed maps, okay? That can be seen if you click on the spoiler button. Starting a comment is that the location density of Hungary is noticeably not that high. The reason, interesting, the reason is that it was one of the first European maps that we made, and we based it on historical counties. Therefore, I'm already saying in advance that this will be an area we give more density when we do a review of the region. Any help regarding that is welcome. Apart from that, you will notice the more detailed map of Crete appears in one while not being present in the previous one because of the zooming. Okay. The island will appear next week along Cyprus, but I wanted to make an early sneak peek of the locations given the possible with this closer zoom level. Apart from that, I'm also saying in advance that we will make an important review of the Aegean Islands, so do not take them as a reference for anything, please. Okay, so they're going to work on some of this stuff down here. We're not going to pour too closely over the more detailed maps. I think the most interesting thing to look at is the resources when we look at these, unless I were like an expert in the particular geography of a given area, and I'm not for any of these areas really. And so we see provinces where we will see kind of, you know, the bigger chunks here, kind of a lot of the provinces that we've seen in previous games, you know, showing up here as well. Not anything too crazy from just kind of skimming over it. Really kind of sharply changing the color though as the different seas, and the fact that this is just an entirely different color with a two C node like change is a bit interesting. I wonder if there's going to be any specific bonuses given to both these areas. I don't think I've ever seen this narrow a sort of strait been shown on the map before, with this narrow strait here too. And maybe it's just the map's not properly representing it, but the double area in the Dardanelles. Okay, fair enough. For terrain, we get a lot of continental and then some Mediterranean down as we get south. Little cold, arid, kind of a decent variance in terms of some of these. And then we have the topography, which is going to be super mountainous, super hilly, and probably super defensible, with the exception of kind of over here. Interesting. I guess we're not seeing vegetation yet. This is topography, but we do see kind of areas that naturally lend themselves to defense. We see Hungary kind of borders almost created by these mountain borders, which makes a lot of sense. borders over here that are kind of created and outlined in the mountains to some degree. You know, Wallachia being separate from, I think it's Wallachia at this point in time, being separated, you know, kind of geographically by these mountains, and same with Bulgaria and Serbia. So that is a bit interesting. Yeah, we do see the hills start to form kind of here. Okay, and then we get to the vegetation, and we see kind of the thing that we've been on the lookout for is farmlands, just generally speaking, where we think that the farmlands are just going to generally be more valuable. I think, is this where Athens is? I can't remember. My Greek geography is not that great. I thought Athens was a little bit more up here. Sparta's on this island, if I recall correctly. Although someone in chat probably knows the Greece geography way better than me. We do see some farmlands over here, a little bit sparse kind of farmlands over here, and then quite a few. Or is this just too big? This is 3 or 4 big farmlands. Okay. But we do see a lot of farmland. But they're also thinking about, or they were saying that they're going to rework some of this. It's a little location sparse. But we do see quite a bit of farmlands in Hungary. So Hungary is probably going to be actually a really strong start then, huh? Because we're seeing them get a lot of resource, or well, I guess we'll scroll down. We're seeing them get what looks like pretty good territory. Also a nice balance of stuff, and we know that they're going to have a lot of mineral resources, and so maybe it's. Do they actually mean that Hungary is actually going to be one of the strongest starts in the game? I guess France and England are going to be like a little bit behind, and so and Spain's not going to be yet done. Maybe Hungary is actually just going to be like one of the stronger starts. Okay, terrain with exclam, not a double exclam though. That's a really good terrain. The climate of the region is mostly divided between continental and Mediterranean, with some warmer and some colder regions. Regarding topography, the Carpathian Mountains are famously important and strategic, while the Balkans are quite hilly and mountainous region, which also greatly covered in woods and forests. Okay. And if it's covered in woods and forests, then they just do give a bonus to defense. It will be really tough to like fight your way through here without some sort of significant advantage or outmaneuvering. We do see a bit of culture, as we do, where we are seeing a ton of Greek down here, and then kind of all or several of the Balkan cultures represented. Don't want to use categorical statements when talking about the Balkans, but we see Serbian, Bosnian, Croatian, some Bulgarian over here, Albanian. We see Wallachian. Kind of extending up here, a lot of Hungarian, a lot of different things in Hungary though, so maybe that'll present challenges to Hungary at the game start if you're having a bunch of cultures that aren't accepted. Here comes the most fun part of the dev diary, the cultural division of the Balkans. Hungary has people from the Balkans seem to have very strong opinions on the various cultures of the Balkans. That has been my perspective. Hungary is full of different minorities. Transylvania, especially, is an interesting place. We have a mix of Hungarians, Transylvanians, which are Romanian-speaking inhabitants of the region, Transylvanian Germans, and Szekely people. We have the divided Southern Slavic-speaking regions into their dialectical families of Slovene, Croatian, Bosnian, and Serbian. Have you ever been to Bosnia? The southern Balkans are mostly divided amongst Bulgarians, Albanians, and Greek cultures. We're also portraying plenty of other cultures such as Dalmatians, Romanians, Sclavines, Avenites, sorry if I mispronounce any and all of this, Cumans, Jats, or Ashkenazi, or Roman-Yodi Jews. So we will have a lot of representation in here, it seems. Okay. And then we see religion map mode, not very interesting, kind of just all Catholic. Well, I guess we do see a lot of Sunni here. Or, actually, no, it's not all Catholic, it's Orthodox. My mistake. This is a lot of Orthodox, split between Catholic, and then we have the Christiani, which is like Christian but not Christian. And then I guess it's an interesting enough map mode. It's not like all Catholic like a lot of the other ones. This one is also interesting. Apart from the divide between Western Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy, we have the Christiani in Bosnia, Bogomil's, the pink stripes in Bosnia and Macedonia, and Paulicians in Thrace. The Jewish populations do not pass the threshold percentage to appear on the map, but there's plenty of communities across the region. Okay, and now we have kind of my favorite map, which is the raw resources. We do see kind of the mountain range dividing, you know, some of this, and we remember seeing in a different one of the map showing a lot of what looked like really good resources inside of Hungary, and we see gold, iron. We see iron here, some iron. And I'm thinking that iron's going to be critical for kind of feeding the war machine, or it might be critical. It's it's obviously going to be very hard to say at this point in time. We do see kind of a nice little smattering of iron throughout the Balkans. Not so much over here, which we know is more flatland than hills. And then we see a lot of, you know, silver, tin, stone, iron, you know, along the more mountainous region of the Balkans here. So that's going to be interesting. There is a little bit of iron in Byzantium. Looks like they have silk kind of right here. There's not too many places with silk, especially in the more western areas of, you know, the Europe. But we do see silk, which is quite a bit more than we've seen, I think, in the past. We see legumes, quite a bit of lumber around here. I think decidedly it seems that there's relatively less livestock and horses than we've seen in some other maps. We do see some horses here, We see a big chunk of wool up here, and yeah, I think that overall, kind of the story is like a lot of mineral resources overall in kind of this region. We see silver. You know, this region is almost entirely, or it has way more mineral density than I think any other place we've seen, and this combined with the gold up here, you know, gems, silver, copper, this is all stone. We got iron, looks very mineral dense or mountainous kind of area dense, which it'll be interesting to see how this affects economies, man. If this leads to kind of more specialization in these types of things, and also maybe cheaper armies to be fielded out from these regions, because you're paying less for the resources required to you know, use that army, but maybe you won't be as good at trading because, okay, we have silk here, but a lot of the goods that look like they would be more expensive or luxuries or trade goods are not kind of present in this region, other than, I suppose, silver. The materials of this region, something very noticeable is the richness of minerals. Yep, with plenty of iron, copper, tin, lead, it's gold, and silver. Specifically, Slovakia is very rich, and you definitely want more settlers to migrate to the region and exploit its resources. The region is also very rich in agricultural resources, as you see. We do see quite a bit of wheat, and so the things that are absent, you know, do seem to be kind of maybe the more expensive trade goods. Also, I guess while we do have wool up here, maybe there's less textiles overall in terms of the other map. Of course, we do see silk, which we don't see in other places, but we don't see an enormous percentage of it. Interesting to see more of it looking like it'll be in Anatolia. But okay, for the markets, we see Pest, Constantinople. That is a big market, right? That market looks real big from Constantinople. Ragusa looks a little bit smaller. We see Pest being most of Hungary here, and then Venice up here, and Naples. Okay, makes sense. Country populations, we do see, I think this is actually one of the bigger country populations too. So, gearing up, I guess, to have a really strong start with Hungary. It seems like it has 3 times the population of Byzantium. Although, perhaps we don't know how important a metric population is for power at game start. I'm guessing it is going to be very important, though. And so maybe they really are saying that Hungary is the strongest start in the game. I'm trying to remember who was the strongest start in EU3, but that was forever ago. So it's tough to say, but actually pretty dense population areas here that we have here in both, well, these 2 areas. I really don't want to accidentally misname Balkan countries. So this one, Wallachia is up here. I think down here is, oh, well, we'll just scroll up. We can't bear to do it. The Serbians don't want to be called, you know, Bosnians, and the Bosnians don't want to be called Serbians. The Bulgaria and Serbia seem to have a lot of population. We just wanted to make double sure. We wanted to be double sure. Okay, so pretty large populations there as well. Ottomans, I guess we don't really see the Ottoman population, huh? We know the Ottomans are here, but there's no way they have 69 million. There's not a decimal there, so I don't know what exactly is going to be the pops of the Ottomans. Do the Ottomans only have 690,000 pop? I think that's the Ottomans right there. Wow, that's crazy. I guess you're experiencing internal kind of problems with Byzantium, but Byzantium also has these subjects, so if you can reincorporate the subjects, you'll have maybe close to 3 million. So probably a pretty strong thing. Yay, they put the detailed population maps in the spoilers because they hurt my eyes. I don't want to look at them. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, it just feels like you have to zoom in super far. If these were heat maps, they'd be so much more readable. But they're not heat maps. They just, like, tell you the number. Country and location population, which have also subdivided, is under the spoiler button. And that's all for today. I hope that you find the region interesting. We certainly think it is. Next week, we'll go further south and we'll take a look at Syrian Levant and Egypt. Cheers. Very nice. Very happy. Very Friday. I hope we get to see... I mean, so far we've only gotten to see Europe, which I guess maybe they focused on Europe first. Maybe that makes sense. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed going over this map. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. You know, do the YouTube algorithm thing. And other than that, you guys have a good one.